Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest. In the last part we beat the game, however, if you check your save file after beating Captain K.Rool after doing everything I've done, you're only at 87%. It's about time we take Klubba into account here. Throughout the entire game, I only went to Klubba once, and I didn't have enough Krem coins at that point. I now have every Krem coin in the game at 75. There are 5 Klubba's kiosks throughout the game starting from Crocodile Cauldron onwards. Do the math. Going to him 5 times to run out, and talking to him and going into his barrel leads you to the final world in the game, the Lost World. Each Klubba takes you to a different level, and so on and so forth. Starting off, we're in Jungle Jinx, I believe this is, which is a little bit of a pun off the first game's first level, Jungle Hijinks. And the best way I can describe Lost World is that it's just straight up World 8. Generally jungle themed, but there are going to be some different things throughout it. Difficulty-wise, it's honestly not much harder than late K.Rool's Keep, barring maybe one instance that everyone talks about. But one thing I should note is that, similarly to the other worlds, the Lost World has a bio in the manual, which kind of spoils the fact it exists, but at the same time, theoretically speaking, you can actually access the Lost World all the way throughout the game, as long as you just have 15 Krem coins. I'm just saving it for last because it is technically World 8. In the manual, the Lost World is described as: there are rumors of a Lost World located deep beneath Crocodile Isle. It is said that this is the source of the Kremlings, and that there is very valuable treasure to be found here, including the elusive trap and the elusive true ending of the game. Only the most clever explorers will find this place. However, being standard worlds all the same, we still have bonus rooms to go through. However, they work a bit differently here. Each level in Lost World, all 5 of them, only have 1 bonus room each. And your reward for beating it is not a Krem coin, but in fact the DK coin of the level. So the truest challenge when it comes to Lost World in my eyes is finding the bonuses and getting the DK coin. Some of the bonuses are in kind of, let's say guide dang it locations, because there's no way you can tell if they're aside from, it might be one case of banana, or just being explorative. Sometimes towards bottomless pits. Either way, Jungle Jinx's main gimmick is the fact that we got the tires back from Donkey Kong Country 1. However, unlike the ones that you find in some of the levels in DKC 1, they can't damage you outright. They'll only bounce you around back and forth, so on and so forth. Otherwise, not too much of a threat here. It's the first level in the Lost World, and it's appropriately the easiest. However, you also want to grab some banana coins in each level. That was a dumb death. The thing is about the Lost World, and I forget if it's like this still in the Game Boy Advance version, you can only access every given level in the Lost World from its appropriate Klubba's kiosk. And in the Super Nintendo version, the only way you can move from world to world is through using Funky's flights. So in order to get every single stage done here, you need to make sure by the end of each stage you've grabbed 2 banana coins, because that's how much it costs to use Funky. However, thankfully each of them has 2 in it at least, so it's not a big problem to find at all. And even then, even if it wasn't, banana coins are so common in the game that it's not much of a problem to begin with anyway. Now, one thing I've seen people talk about on forums with this game is that apparently to reach the truest 100% rating on this game, you need to also make sure you visited every single Kong family member at least once. So Wrinkly, Funky, Cranky, all that jazz, Swanky especially. So make sure you do that throughout the game as well. Because this game is a bit similar again to Donkey Kong Country 1 in that 100% isn't 100%. There are extra percentage points gotten through other methods. I believe that's mostly relative to the DK coins at this point though. But yeah, as you can see here, we can only access Black Ice Battle here through the Klubba's kiosk in Krem Key. There's no way to access Jungle Jinx from this one. It's a way to force you to have paid all 5 Klubbas the 15 Krem coins needed to access all 5 levels. Personally speaking, I would have had it so that if you've been to a Klubba's kiosk or have cleared one of the other levels already, it could be available through all 5. But I understand the reasoning, and you know what? I'll take it. Also accessible in the Lost World is, as usual, a Cranky Museum. That is to give you the information you might need about certain bonus rooms and such. I think each Cranky is technically unique to the Klubba's kiosk you come through, but don't quote me on that, because I never use him ever. Otherwise, though, usual changes to the Game Boy Advance version are included here. Golden feathers and photographs are located through all 5 levels. Some visual stuff was changed. I think the world map was changed in design, but I forget if you can access all 5 levels in a row. I forget how they made that work or not. And, yeah. I know Donkey Kong Land 2, this place got some changes, especially because I think, due to the lower amount of credit points in that game, I think there's only, like, just short of 50. They made it so that was a one entrance place that you just accessed all at once. But it's been a long time since I've played Land otherwise. You know, thinking back, I think I actually played more of Donkey Kong Land 1 than Donkey Kong Country 1. If I'm recalling correctly, because we had both. I forget if Land was mine or my brother's, though. Country was my brother's, and that's why that cartridge is with him currently. But, either way, this level, I believe, off the top of my head at least, has the last bonus that's relative to cannonballs, so make sure you grab onto this and hold onto it for dear life. Thankfully, I'm glad they didn't try to make this have to do with barrels, because barrels are destroyed once they hit something, but cannonballs, as you can see here, in fact, they even planned for it, you can use multiple times, and I saw that pallet glitch. What was that? Did you guys see that? Go back like 10 seconds and look at the cannonball. The pallet glitch to be like one of the Kong pallets. What the hell? I didn't see that in recording. Thankfully, maybe just because either they had exhausted most of their ideas or they realized that the levels were harder as it was, the bonuses for most of these stages are very straightforward. And I'll take it, because that means not free DK coins, but relatively easier DK coins. Despite being an ice level, though, Black Ice Battle, even though I've basically neglected to mention anything about it otherwise, is pretty standard. It's the only ice stage from the top of my head that is more of a standard platforming stage rather than having anything having to do with water. But because you're going downwards and jumping so much, the ice doesn't really have much of a chance to affect you outside of certain occasions with some of the zingers, depending on your patience level. Also, as for why I'm not jump cutting from Lost World entrance to Lost World entrance, it's mostly so you can see the dialogue that Klubba has, in the case there's some dialogue for Klubba we haven't seen yet, and so on and so forth. Plus, it just feels a bit better to show it off. That, and admittedly, and this is mostly just me being an idiot a lot of the time, I've always found the world map of DKC 2 a bit more confusing than DKC 1, because there's no, like, actual pathway going on. You just go from level to level, and they show you through little arrows which directions you can move in to get to another level or Kong family member, but I'm just really stupid at remembering which way is which. Mind you, DKC 1 didn't really have much of a reason to backtrack from level to level, just because once you beat K.Rool, you were done. You didn't even need to backtrack to levels if you're being good enough. So this is the rare case. Either way, the third level of Lost Worlds is very Klobber focused, as you can tell by its name, Klobber Karnage. This is probably my least favorite level in this world in concept, because I find the spam of Klobbers just a bit annoying more than anything. Some of the rocket barrel stuff in this level is, I guess, interesting. They do more with it than some of the main levels did, but I don't even think, outside of like the Red Zinger change in Jungle Jinx's bonus room, I don't think this stage and that stage got much changed, if at all, in the Game Boy Advance version. Outside of, I think maybe their bonuses got slightly different color palettes. The most annoying part of this stage is probably the end of it. Just because, first off, the bonus room in this one is in a very bad location that I do not like. But also, the final, well, most of the final platforming is just a giant chain of rocket barrels. Two of them, actually, even. One is admittedly shorter than the other, but the really annoying thing is you can miss the barrel that starts it all off, and you can have to wait for close to a minute, depending on where you are. Like now, I just have to wait. The game has done this before. There was one time, especially, I remember, I can't remember the level at the top of my head, but if you miss the barrel right off, you have to wait a couple seconds, but it doesn't take too long because the section's short. The most annoying thing about that section, honestly, is because I think that's where you have to get one of the G's. But here, this takes a while. Thankfully, in a blessed moment of balance. Despite these levels being some of the highest, some of these levels being the hardest in the game, they're relatively short compared to some of the other levels in the game. Because some of the other levels in the game can get upwards of 6+ minutes depending on where you are and how well you're playing, how slow you're taking it. Even at a slower speed, these levels aren't too long. Only the final one, the Lost World levels, is really long. This barrel sucks to make. Yeah. I think what you're actually supposed to do there is just wait for the timer to run out, but I just suck at doing that. I'm an impatient man when it comes to things like this. Some of the bananas in this area are also just there to trap you, by the way, so make sure you don't go after the bananas and instead just try to aim for the barrel. We're getting relatively close to the end of the level, though, and the thing I really just do not like about this level is the placement of its bonus barrel. Because, well, yes, I think there is a tell to it. I just think it's stupid. Getting this Diddy barrel because you need Diddy for it. And, oh wait, no, there's not even a barrel there that's on screen. You're supposed to walk past the target to see that. Yeah, that's an enemy of an impatient person. But yeah, just fire right and you find yourself in the bonus. This bonus is pretty straightforward. Just grab the invincibility barrel and go ham on all of the zingers and you win. I'm relatively surprised the Game Boy Advance version didn't change those ones to red ones, but I forget if invincibility barrels can destroy the red zingers, because I actually don't... Are they ever in the same level? I don't know if they are. Although that brings an interesting question to my mind about Donkey Kong Country ROM hacks. That seems like it would be possible, but it's something I don't think I've ever heard about from the top of my head, at least. That could be potentially interesting. Although now I think about it, it'd be a lot of the same kind of stuff, wouldn't it? Actually, no, they can get pretty creative with it. I'd imagine there's a bit more limitations in this game than, say, Mario World, though, but dedicated ROM hackers can be really creative. Either way, the next level here in the Lost World is Fiery Furnace, and this level introduces a new gimmick. I think it's and Jungle Jinx, I think, are the only ones that introduce something completely new. And in this case, it's the final variety of barrel, controllable barrels. Once you jump in them, you're completely in control about where they go. You still have the timer to worry about, and if you aren't careful, you can get shot down directly into lava, but otherwise, it's just another barrel. Get out and reach the target before the timer runs out, and you should be fine. However, there's a little bit of a glitch with the moving barrels in the version 1.0 of the game, where you can technically disable the timer on them. What you have to do is that you have to get hit by an enemy the exact second the timer hits 0. In which case, yeah, you'll take the hit, but the barrel, you'll just be in it infinitely. And you can scroll completely all the way to the left and out of bounds, which will cause you to wrap over to the other side of the level. I wouldn't be surprised if some version 1.0 speedruns use that, but it sounds pretty specific. Admittedly though, gimmick aside, this is probably my favorite level in the Lost World, just because, hey, first off, it's something new. It's a breath of fresh air from the jungle aesthetic, which is fairly common in this particular world. And I just really like this song. With that said, though, it does have one annoying thing. Make that two, because cutlasses are annoying if you're not timing yourself carefully. And that some cat and nine tails show up in this level, and I just don't like those enemies, period. For the most part, the level is designed in such a way where you have just enough time with the moving barrels to reach the destination. However, if you take a different pathway or you take a hit early just to make a shortcut, you can have it last a bit longer than you probably should. I'd still say if you ever need to swap barrels, I'd just take the safeness and just go immediately. But as you can see with the way that like this movement's going on, you're supposed to wait for that last barrel's timer to run out and then follow the barrels. With that said though, I can just say screw you, I have Dixie. Now, this right here is particularly one of my least favorite Kong letters in the game because I just hate Cat and Nine Tails and I almost always get hit with Dixie there. So that kind of sucks, but oh well. the worst part about that is because I got hit right there, I can't access the bonus level because you need to team throw up there. I think theoretically, yeah, if you aim yourself or place yourself properly, the cat of nine tails can throw you into it, but good luck with that. That's probably even more specific. Thankfully, after that death and I came back here, I managed to keep Dixie so I can get this bonus. And the bonus room for this level is one of the more unique in the game, and that's also the only one that deals with the moving barrels. We're in a giant bramble room. Navigate to the end before the 40-second time limit's up. That's more than enough time. The bigger threat, honestly, is hitting either the bramble itself or the zingers around the area because that's an instant loss. However, if you just not take your time, but if you're careful about your pacing, you should do just fine. It's not a very hard bonus. I think that's why they made the levels harder than usual, is because I think they balanced the bonuses around the difficulty of the levels, so that while the levels themselves could be hard, and replaying them in case you missed the bonus could be hard, the bonuses themselves aren't too much to worry about. And that takes us also right to the end of the level. Not that I was too far away from where the bonus was anyway, it's only like 2 platforms backwards, but yeah. And with that, only one level, I think, remains in... Yeah, one level remains in the main part of the Lost World. So we're just going to fly on up to K.Rool's Keep and access the Lost World, and then we'll be ending this off. If I am remembering how they changed the Game Boy Advanced version, I do prefer the flow they went with than that. Because, admittedly, going back to Funky... No, leaving the Lost World, going back to Funky just to go to another world and re-enter it is a bit tedious. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 10, we're going to be accessing one of the fan least favorite levels, Animal Antics, and seeing where we can go from there. See you guys then.